All right, guys, welcome back. So we're into like the sixth part of this whole series, and I know some people are going like, holy shit, how many parts are there? It's a complicated thing, right, as far as concepts go. So we're trying to break it down into digestible chunks, and this is exactly how we teach it. So to this point, we've addressed everything standing up. We haven't gone to the floor just yet in any way, shape, or form. We started in a very specific way so that we can learn safely interaction with pushes and pulls. So we started them hands on the gun, started talking about different positions there, and then we took them to different angles, as you guys saw. And we started messing around with, okay, now I'm off of the gun grabbing, and now I'm going to the back and grabbing and controlling. Now, inevitably, if this fight goes pretty long, or if we hit as aggressively as we're planning on hitting, or any number of circumstances, we're probably going to end up on the floor, or at least into some form of a third leverage point, whether it's a wall, a desk, into the ground is, in most cases, where this is going. So we want people to understand how to get to the floor, a couple basic concepts of controlling when they're on the floor, but first, we want them to do that unintentionally. So not just, I'm tackling them into the floor. I want it to be a struggle over the gun and then learn to transition from standing down to the floor. For two reasons. First off, if it does start standing, I need to understand that transition. Secondly, again, safety purposes, right? So if we take them just straight into impact, fall, and hit the floor, and we haven't learned to transition to that point, that's where we get into some injuries and some things like that. So I can take people with no training background and I can get them towards tackles in a safer manner. So there's a method to the madness. So the way that this next drill starts when we get them into it is, we start any position that we've worked on. So they can be coming from the back angles and hitting here. They can be coming from the far side. They can be coming from this side, getting two hands on. Whatever they want. I'll let them a little bit of freedom as far as how they start. But the way the drill is going to start is, okay, cool, maybe I jumped out, boom, I grabbed onto the gun here. We started doing pushes and pulls. We ended up in this position. And now what's going to end up happening is I want them to transition into the ground. So at some point in time, voluntarily, he's going to start to fall. Now the order of operations, you see he put his knee down and then his hip, and now he's going to fall to his back. Once again, the reason that we're doing that from a safety standpoint is because if he goes knee, hip, back, he doesn't fall and crunch onto his arm. He doesn't stop to brace himself out and hurt his wrist or hurt his elbow. He doesn't fall face first into the gun and take the gun to the face. So again, we can work this and drill this transitionally safely as we go in. So he chooses when to fall, sometime between 10 or 15 seconds after the drill starts. I don't know when, I have to react. So as we're going in, we're in this position going, at some point in time he starts to fall, I have to go with him and keep pressure down, controlling onto the gun. From this position, I'm now going to try to keep and maintain control of that weapon and learn how to control it from that point, from whatever position I get into. As a general rule of thumb, this isn't a ground fighting class, right? We're talking about people that are going to be with us working on fighting for an hour and a half, 2 hours, the fighting section of it. So this is a ground fighting class, but we do want to give them basic concepts. First concept is, I want my hips pointed towards the floor, towards my bad guy. If I fall to a side hip, he can turn and roll me over very easily. So I want my hips pointed towards the floor. Second basic concept, preferably, I don't want to be on my knees. I'm supporting my own weight when I'm on my knees. I want to be as heavy as possible, so I'd like to be on my toes in most cases. I have to wonder, or I have to worry rather, that if I get on my toes, I don't get too far on my toes forward and get driven over. So we're giving them basic concepts for them to understand. Hips point to the ground, up on the toes, keeping weight, and just be cautious and cognizant that you don't get rolled over to the front. But we're just teaching them a basic transition from standing down into the ground, and then teaching them how to control from that part. And we can do this from anywhere. So maybe we start on the back now. I went in, I did my big bomb, dropping in, and we're fighting. At some point in time, he goes to the ground, and now I'm staying on top of him, driving him into the floor. Right? Using his body, using my hands, using my arms in some form or fashion to get him down into there. But we're doing it safely, we're doing it in a manner that's meaningful, and again, allowing them to train at a pretty decent pace right out of the gate, right? So give that one a shot, and we'll see you guys back for the next one.